Hello, welcome. Today, I am Michael Smith. This is Awaken to Truth. Thank you for taking the time to stop by and check out this video. Also, thank you, those of you who have subscribed and have stayed subscribed in spite of the fact that I have not been very consistent in getting videos up on this channel. As I explained on a previous video, back in the summer, we moved from Florida to Cincinnati, Ohio area. And, not just about a year before that, we had moved from Cleveland, Ohio to Florida. And so when you move twice like that in a period of less than a year, it's not easy. And it felt like we've been playing catch up, like just so much to get done and busy. And it's just been a little bit of a challenging season, but starting to feel like I'm getting caught up. And I know I've said it before, but I am planning to try and get more consistent. So hang in there with me. If you have not subscribed and you're watching this, go check out the other ones, see if you like the stuff that we discuss on this channel, and consider hitting that subscribe button as well. Also, if you would hit that thumbs up, that will help the algorithm. It will help me get onto more people's feed. Okay, so today I want to discuss, moving into this 2022 midterm cycle. There's some very important things for our nation moving into this midterm, and politics have kind of converged to where they have become more important than maybe they have ever been, at least in my lifetime. I wish that it wasn't that way. I wish we could go back to a time where politics wasn't that important. I wish we could go back to a time where it was, if you vote this way, it's because you prefer this and this. And if you vote that way, it's because you prefer that and that. But ultimately, either way is going to probably turn out somewhat okay. Maybe one way will be a little better than the other. Maybe one way suits your preferences more, but not a massive difference. And, a great example of this is back a couple of years ago during the 2020 election. I watched a debate between Richard Nixon and John F. Kennedy. And I listened to almost the whole debate just out of curiosity. And the thing that I took away from the debate is while I could hear distinct differences in their approach to government, you listen to Kennedy or you listen to Nixon, and at least for me, I went, you know what? Either way, it wasn't going to be a disaster. It was probably going to be okay. But we've gotten to the point that that's not really the case anymore. And we're kind of living through the midst of that the 2020 election has had disastrous consequences for our nation. Whether you liked Donald Trump or whether you didn't, that really makes no difference. You could say, well, I wouldn't ever want him back. Okay, fine. That doesn't change the fact. Forget who the alternative was if you're, just a complete Trump hater, which certainly there are many out there. Forget who the opponent was. Joe Biden and the Democrat majority in the Congress and the Senate have been disastrous for this nation. And it's not just in policy decisions. It is in matters of morality. They are leading the charge to try and spiral America to the bottom of depravity and to the depths of gross immorality. And there is no better example. We don't have to argue about abortion. We don't have to get into homosexual right. We don't have to get into any of that to prove the point. You go no further than the transgender movement, which is completely supported and promoted by the Democrat apparatus. And this is a movement that says they believe 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds should be able to have gender reassignment surgery. Now, we all know about this, or at least we kind of know about this, or most people know about this. Joe Biden recently said there should be no laws in place to protect children under the age of 18 from having gender reassignment surgery. Now, the absurdity of this boggles the mind. It's difficult to imagine that the leader of a nation could make such an insane statement and have such a crazy position, but that is where we are. And some might say, well, it's so stupid, it's not having an impact. Let me tell you the impact that it's having. My daughter went to a public high school this year for the first time. She had never gone to public school, K through 8. And so she went to a public high school here in the area. And I recently went to one of her choir performances where she was singing. And this is a high school that is located in a very, very politically red part of the country. Southern Ohio in general is politically red, but the county that I'm in, I'm just outside of Hamilton County, which is the county that holds Cincinnati, and I'm in Warren County, and it is very slanted towards the Republicans. Votes very red every election. And in this county, in this class, not even in the whole school, in the class, there was a boy dressed as a girl and there was a girl dressed as a boy singing. Now, the girl that was dressed as a boy was singing as a girl, but had to sing all male parts because the voice just wasn't feminine enough, because genetically, obviously, it's a boy. And this is something that is only going to continue to get worse. We have all the problems that we could possibly, desire to have. You've got social media and kids today spending way too much time on that, and their self-image being bad because they're looking at that, and them thinking that their lives are not exciting enough because they look at this social media nonsense. And then you've got a government that is pushing an ideology of insanity, and you have kids that are confused and that are going through difficult times. And everybody knows that, 12 through about 16 or 17 is not the easiest time in life because of hormones and because of social pressures and because we don't know who we are at that point. And we're very vulnerable. And we have a predatory national party that wants to prey upon that and twist and contort their minds and not even protect their bodies from life-altering surgery. And this is an edge of a cliff, so to speak, that if we do not turn around now, if we continue going down this path, I don't know if we're going to recover. The education that is in schools, the sexual education, we have found out through COVID that much of it is wildly inappropriate for kids. We, the school systems, controlled in many respects by the teachers' unions, are sold out 100% to a nonsensical, radical, immoral agenda. And I think that I'm seeing positive signs that people have had enough. And that even if it's maybe, let me go back to the gender reassignment surgery. You're not protecting a little child's body. You're saying, yeah, if it feels good, go ahead and do it. That'll be great. And the Bible is very clear about the sanctity of the body. Paul says, present your bodies as living sacrifices and acceptable unto God. The Democratic Party says, change your body, forever alter your body. If you're a female, pump testosterone into your body at a young age and alter your development. If you're a male, begin to take some type of estrogen therapy to alter the testosterone from taking effect so that you can become more feminine. Things that will be very difficult to change. And then, of course, it goes beyond that. I don't need to get into the actual surgical elements of that. But this is something that is so wildly unacceptable for a political party to be offering. It's hard to comprehend. And I think, and I am hopeful that maybe we are coming to a place that people are rejecting this. And, we only have two choices. I wish that we had more viable choices. We only have two. That's all we get. You get A or B. And right now, if you are a sane person, One of those two choices promotes gender reassignment surgery for kids. One of those two choices promotes radical late-term abortion. One of those two choices promotes transgender ideology being taught in schools. One of those two choices promotes identity politics being a part of the schoolhouse. One of those two choices promotes the working man and woman to pay for those who go to college. The ones who didn't go to college pay for those who did. One of those two choices is completely sold out to the idea of spending ridiculous amount. Well, they're both kind of sold out to that, so never mind. But my point is there is a choice. And this is, sadly, we're at a place where, and I hope that out of this, maybe some positive can emerge, and maybe we can have a new party or something new emerge to give us other options. But what is currently being presented by one of our major political parties, the Democrats, is something that will absolutely destroy this country, bring this country to a place where it's unrecognizable and possibly unrecoverable, and cause us to go into decline in a very short period of time. We cannot sustain 5-6 more years of the direction that we have been headed the last two. It's absolutely unsustainable. And so while I know that it's not polite to discuss politics, I know that it's one of those things that's better left unsaid. The truth of it is it's becoming a necessity that people understand what is at stake, understand the issues. And I'm not claiming that the Republicans are the great saviors, okay? I, in many ways, detest certain things about the Republican Party, all right? Because while Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi may have a lot of varying opinions, it's my opinion that they're not that different. Now, I think there are some good Republicans in there. There's some that are fighting and trying to do the right thing. But as far as Mitch and Nancy goes, I think that at the end of the day, if it came to doing what's best for the country, or if it came to cutting some kind of deal and passing some type of legislation that enriched themselves, I think Nancy and Mitch are on the same side in that they're going to pick to enrich themselves basically every time. But be that as it may, sometimes you do have to pick the lesser of two evils so that the entire nation doesn't spiral into the abyss. And I think that's where we are. And so, if you're a believer and you're watching this, I would encourage you, obviously, to exercise your right to be able to go out and participate in this and hopefully maybe begin to change the course, but also spend some time praying for this nation, because it's in some very disturbing signs have unraveled over the last few years. And hopefully we can begin to have a reversal, not a small reversal. Donald Trump was a small reversal of Obama. All of this started under Obama. I hate to say it. Maybe you're a big fan, maybe you're not, but this direction started. And I believe that it was a rejection of this direction is the reason that Donald Trump was put in office. And he did a lot of things, but at least he didn't, push insane, nonsensical things. At least there was some measure of common sense to the things that he tried to do, whether you agree with those or whether you don't. But we can't just have like a 4-year reprieve from this. This movement of destruction has to itself be destroyed. So if you're not a believer, if you're not into Christianity, if you're not into spiritual things, fine. Look at the rational side of it. Boys are boys and girls are girls, period. Girls don't need to be playing boys' sports. We don't need to have identity politics where everything is about some type of racial this or racial that. None of that is healthy. None of that is good. And all that's going to do is create further issues, problems, and divisions. And so if you are a Christian, take account of all of those things, but also pray. Because the Bible does say that if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, that I will hear them and I will heal their land. This land is in dire need of healing today. This land is in dire need of restoration today. So if you're a believer, join me right now in faith, believing that restoration is going to begin to take place. And here's the thing: God doesn't work through, God doesn't, it isn't represented by a political party, but he will work through political entities at times. And right now, the only option he has to work is through the Republican Party. And maybe he will work and begin to put an end to some of this dangerous, sick ideology that has been pervasive across our nation, in our schools, in our universities, in our corporations. And there can begin to be a reversal and a restoration of sanity, of goodness, of kindness, and of love. And so join me and just believe that and pray for that and expect that. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I will be back with another episode very soon.